What's up, college football fans and Mean Green fans and Louisiana Tech fans? My name is Sonoy Valente, and this is the Mean Green Show, and I'm joined tonight by Nathan, better known as the person who runs the Go Tech Please Don't Die Twitter account, as well as the Go Tech Please Don't Die podcast. Make sure to give them a follow, tune into their podcast, because they are always talking Louisiana Tech football. And before we get into all things La Tech and UNT related, guys, you already know the drill. If you're a fan of college football recruiting, the G5 football world, the transfer portal, any or all of the above, consider hitting that like and subscribe button down below, because that is truly all that we talk about. Also, if you happen to agree or disagree with anything that Nathan and I say, let us know in the comments below. You know, all that stuff really helps YouTube channels like this get picked up by the YouTube algorithm and get pushed out to a more deeper and different market. All right, Nathan, thanks so much for jumping on with me this evening. I know you're a busy man up there in Maryland, a Louisiana Tech fan who's now in Maryland. You guys are a
Yeah,
national brand. That's exciting stuff. But man, how are you doing, man? How's football season treating you so far?
it's been a little painful so far this year as a Tech fan. After the first week having the blocked field goal to lose to Mississippi State, only being the FCS school by 3, and then losing to your favorite team, I'm sure, SMU, uh, in a down to the wire Hail Mary pass that I still haven't forgotten. This is a fun year so far for me.
Man, no joke. I think all the North Texas fans probably threw on a La Tech hat and we're cheering you guys on. Either way, we play the same team, whether y'all win or lose against SMU. Might as well win and good for the conference. But yeah, that Mordecai Hail Mary that it got tipped to Reggie Robertson, I believe, that wasn't even part of that was insane. I watched that entire game, every snap, through and through, just for some Mordecai magic, I guess. But so I mean, is the mission statement this year for Louisiana Tech? Let's play everybody close, like regardless if they're SEC, FCS, AAC. I mean, like, what's the deal there, man? Like every game is just like it's a show, I guess.
Yeah, I've always said I prefer to lose a close game than win a blowout just because it's more fun to watch a close game, and the football fan in me more prefers that. But I'm really starting to eat my own words this season because, yeah, it's been hard in chest the entire time. You just can't catch a break. I just want to watch a game and just be like, okay, Tech is up 30. It's the fourth quarter. I don't have to worry about this anymore. I can just go to sleep early if I want to. But then again, I mean, that was Mississippi State basically, and we still lost that game. So I don't know. I'm not in a good place anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, man. I seek a therapist. Um,
That's my
man, and
takeaway too.
yeah, man. I was gonna ask you. I really, just who. I don't know which loss is worse. Obviously, I don't know if you know, but we lost 40-6 to UAB. We got totally skull dragged at home by a conference school. Anyway, that's in the past. Um, and then
Maybe you
obviously you
need a
guys,
therapist too.
yeah, I do. Oh, I definitely do. And they're gonna have their hands full. But you guys obviously lost. I mean, a tight wire game again. So which way do you think you'd rather? I mean, at least for us, I mean, by by halftime, it was pretty much over. It was like, all right, we're not winning this one, but you guys were in it until literally the last play. Would you rather lose big or would you? Obviously, from the standpoint of the record and y'all's strength and ratings and rankings, it helps to lose close. But just for your emotional state, I mean, is it really worth it? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
We have been conditioned as Tech fans to have these close loss games. This is part of life as a Louisiana Tech fan. I think back to losing to South Carolina by 1 point a few years ago. This is the kind of thing that happens. And at some point, you just kind of have to make peace with the fact that this is how it's going to work. And maybe that's the therapy I should be going to talking. But I prefer to lose by 1 than to lose by 40 just because it's more fun that way. We've done that in 2014, or 2015. We lost to Oklahoma by 40 or 50 points in the first game of the season, and that's no fun. And yeah, you can turn that game off at halftime, but then what else are you going to watch? I much prefer having the 3, and this game turned out to be closer to 4 hours of football, and have it be close and entertaining the whole time.
Yeah, man, I guess that's just been the MO for years, because like we talked a little bit off tape, growing up, I'm from Hawaii originally, and I grew up a diehard Hawaii football fan, and they still will always have a special place in my heart. They'll always be number two, And now there's talk about North Texas going to the Mountain West, man. That I don't know how I feel if that happens. If seeing North Texas and Hawaii play off, each other year in and year out. But anyway, moral of the story is back in 2007 when Hawaii had Colt Brennan, the Dreadheads, Devon, they were just loaded with talent. My dad and I, we were living in Texas at the time, went to Ruston to watch Hawaii play. It wasn't that far of a commute for us. And that game, Hawaii did win it, but it was in overtime. And it's just like, good Lord, I guess you guys just love the drama, the dramatics, but I guess it's fun. Before we dive into this game that we have coming up, and I know we've been talking about the past, but staying on the past for just a moment longer, I'm not really sure if you guys understand what you guys might have ruined for North Texas back in 2018. And we were 4-0 with wins against SMU, Liberty, Arkansas, and I think Incarnate Word. Anyway, 3 of those are very valuable wins. Those are, 3 good programs that we handled. All 3 of those games we dominated. Actually, it wasn't even, we won in UNT form backwards now. So we were just humming along 4-0. You guys come to town, and that was the first game that I made it to that 20. So I graduated in 2015. That was the first game I made it to. I didn't make it to a game in 2017. It was the first game in a long time. And man, we were feeling good. Me and a couple of my college buddies, we were in the stands, and we were feeling really good. Just put it that way. And I think at halftime, I don't remember the score was, but we were up on y'all big. And then a drop punt later, and the dominoes just started to fall. And you guys, I don't know what the final score was. I don't have it pulled up right now, but it was close in Louisiana Tech form and fashion. And you guys pull off the win. And then ever since then, man, I don't feel like we've ever been the same. So y'all really cost us a lot since 2018. So just wanted to reiterate the importance of what you guys did to us.
Yeah, y'all were up 21-6 at the half, and then we won because y'all failed the 2-point conversion with less than 2 minutes left to win 29-27.
Yeah, it's all coming back to me now that you mentioned it.
It's curious you say 2018 too, because you know who we beat in the bowl game that year. It's your number 2 team, Hawaii. So we just causing all kind of trouble for you in 2018.
Yeah, y'all did. Y'all really are trying to make me do something irrational here.
About to kick me off the show already.
Yeah. Don't follow them. They're a bunch of Anyway, that's crazy. So, what are your guys' thoughts on Austin Kendall as a fan base? Are y'all beaming with him, or is the verdict still out essentially, or what are your thoughts on Austin Kendall?
Yeah, I think me and the fan base are not quite aligned on this. What the fan base thinks is that the jury's still out, but he's a very good quarterback. That he's shown that he can lead this team and do a good job under center and shotgun for Tech, but hasn't cost us those 2 games. But Tech is 1-2, and people aren't happy about the fact that, and a lot of people said they should be 3-0. My opinion of him is I think he's the best quarterback that has played for Tech since I've been a Tech fan, since 2012. I haven't seen anyone play with such grace and it's fun to watch him. It looks like we just took a backup NFL quarterback and put him on our team. And I guess we more or less did. We took him out of the professional world to come back to college for one last rodeo. But he just looks smooth. Even though he was hurt in the second half against SMU, he just played so well that I'm excited to see how, and I'm kind of expecting to tear up conference play. Whether or not the team does is a different issue, but I really expect him to kind of go off as we get into conference play, which unfortunately for you starts with North Texas.
Yes, it does. Yeah, man, I'm more spot on with you. I think he's a great Conference USA quarterback, and you're 1-3. Granted, the FCS one probably should have been by a larger margin, but Mississippi State and as well as SMU. As much as we don't like SMU here over here at North Texas, SMU's good. SMU's real good.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably should have beat y'all by more. I mean, just I think that anyway. And then Mississippi State, they're SEC school. I mean, y'all, we're all supposed to lose the SEC schools. But I mean, he kept y'all in those games. I mean, like I mean, again, he didn't play perfect, I guess. I mean, he's throws a pick about every game. So do we, though. But yeah, I think he's great. I mean, I think he's a really, really, really solid quarterback. And how's he doing, by the way? I mean, he's playing next Saturday?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything that makes it sound like he wouldn't. I think he just got a little banged up, and it was
Yeah.
his non-throwing shoulder too, or that side of his body. But yeah, he probably could take a few days off and
Yeah.
sit in that ice tub for a little bit and be ready to go.
Definitely. Definitely. All right. Kind of a similar question, but different person. What's the general consensus on Skip Holtz?
This one, I think me and the fan base disagree on even more on right now, and I think a lot of it just comes from the fact that we've lost these two close games, and Tech has had a history of having these close games since he was hired in 2013. But I don't. I'm of the opinion that what would come after Skip Holtz would probably be worse than Skip Holtz.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy we played last week in SMU, Sonny Dykes, he was our coach before we hired Holtz. And he
Yeah.
did great things for us. He got us to 2012. We got this close to beating Johnny Manziel in one of the first football games I went to as a Tech fan. Again,
That game was insane
losses.
too. Another close one, dude. Holy moly,
Yeah.
what is going, dude? Like literally, like oh my gosh. Anyway,
Yeah, and so that's what Sonny Dykes did. He took over a program that was bad and had been bad for 5 or 6 years, turned it around, got us to 9-3, and what should have been a bowl game, and that's a topic for another show. But that whole thing happened, and then Skip Holtz does basically the same thing, where he takes it. He has one down year. I try to combine the words down and bad. He has one bad year, then comes off and goes bowl game after bowl game after bowl game, basically the same level of what Sonny Dykes did. But because he's been here longer, it's been okay. So what can you do next? Why aren't we playing in? Why haven't we won a conference championship? Sonny Dykes didn't win us a conference championship. Why haven't we been to a New Year's Six game? The expectations keep going up as we play, and it's at the point where people are calling for Skip Holtz's head again. And I really think that no matter what would happen after, we would be bad for a while. We'd have to be extremely lucky to get a coach that could elevate our play past this, especially with the resources at our disposal.
yeah, yeah, and that's kind of my knock on North Texas, or my just grievance, whatever. I think y'all are doing more with less, and I don't mean that. I really don't mean that to sound cocky or anything, but I personally believe that. You can, if you disagree, you can let me know. But I think you guys are doing more with less. I think we're doing less with more. I think we have maybe the deepest pockets in this conference. I don't know that to be a total fact, but I think we're pretty close to the top when it comes to funding. And we have a really nice facilities. We have a lot to offer. And any recruits that are listening, I'm definitely trying to sell you on North Texas right now over Louisiana Tech. No, but anyway,
I'll do my pitch in a second.
yeah, I'm waiting for it. But
Yeah.
anyway, and I mean, where we are geographically, obviously, North Texas high school football is, I mean, you can, obviously, I'm biased, but I mean, I think it's second to none. I mean, the Dallas Fort Worth area, we just have so many powerhouses in our backyard. So anyway, I think there it is. But you guys are outperforming that. But let's hear it. Let's hear your sales pitch for La Tech.
I mean, really, you put it pretty well when you said more with less. Tech is what in the bottom 10 in college in FBS football when it comes to athletic budget or something like that.
Mm.
It helps that Ruston, Louisiana, is in a low cost of living area where I live in Maryland now.
Mm-hmm.
The last place I was living, it was a like 2-bedroom place. I was paying $3,000 in rent a month. Ruston, you get a 3-bedroom house for $400 a month or whatever. It's insanely cheaper, which lets you do more for less when you don't have to spend as much on that kind of thing. But yeah, it's the fact that Tech's been able to do what they have been able to do with the budget that they have, with the money that they have, really is incredible. And I like to think that if we keep things going, we get better, we do more. If we keep that attitude of doing more with less, and then we're also getting more, then we can even do more with more. And so that's kind of where I'm thinking things can go for Tech. This is hypothetical, I guess. This is all of a sudden, oh wow, we're all rich. Yeah, let's go spend a bunch of money. But we've been improving our stuff. Our stadium is old; it's been around since the '60s. But we built things in the end zone. We're talking about doing more. We built a new baseball stadium, which, as a big baseball fan, is a huge thing for me after the tornadoes. Yeah, it's from a Tech perspective, it's fun to try to do more with less. But man, there's sometimes I really wish we had more money to spend on things too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exciting stuff, nonetheless. All right. So, about this game coming up this Saturday.
Yes.
Two-sided question. One, I mean, do you guys have any concern that North Texas comes up and pulls off the upset? I think we're 12.5 points underdogs, 12.5, something like that. Is there any concern that, okay, like, and again, kind of talking about doing less with more, recruiting wise, we're in the past years, we've been towards that top, the past 2 or 3 years in the conference, obviously, with the 21 class being the highest in the conference there at the end. But we haven't performed. That hasn't really translated to the field, unfortunately. So is there any concern with North Texas coming in, A, and then B, how does North Texas walk in to Ruston at Louisiana Tech and still a win?
So is there concern? I think there's always concern when Tech plays. At Tech
Same with
Plays Don't
North
Die, we
Texas.
often do a thing where we pick a game each year that's our baffling conference loss, because every year we have one. We lose to a team we have no business losing to. I think the one and only time we played ODU before this year, we lost to them, and it was just a what? Maybe we forgot they even existed and just didn't show up to the game we didn't know was scheduled. But we do this every year. And so I didn't pick North Texas to be that baffling conference loss, but I can understand it being that with Tech thinking that they're much better. But at the end of the day, both teams come in with a record of 1-2.
Yeah.
But in terms of how can they steal a game, really it comes down to the defense, I think, for Tech. Against Mississippi State, we were able to kind of hold their passing game at bay, which if Mike Leach's Mississippi State team does anything, it's only pass the ball. So when we were able to keep them from being able to pass the ball, that's how we stayed in that game and almost stole it from them. But then Southeastern Louisiana came to town, which granted is actually the best passing offense in FCS football and has the Walter Payton FCS, basically their Heisman, what FCS has as a Heisman award, is their quarterback, Cole Kelly. They came into town and just trashed our defense, our pass defense. And then SMU came in, and I don't think as badly as Southeastern did, but they are also able to pass all over us. And so is this just the fact that we played a pass-heavy Mississippi State, a pass-heavy Southeastern, and a pass-heavy SMU, or do we just actually kind of suck at pass coverage? So I think that North Texas, it feels like for us, will be a very good test of how good our pass defense really is, because we're not playing a top 10 pass offense. We're playing a team, at least from my perspective coming in, that's not known for just their pass offense.
Right. Man, I mean, I don't know. This game is pretty important for each of us. I mean, we're Conference USA schools, G5 schools. I feel like our fan base and our demographic of our school is probably similar. I mean, a lot of blue collar people and just kind of, I don't know. That's one thing I do like about Conference USA. I do feel like a lot of the fan bases at these schools are similar fan bases. But anyway, nevertheless, so we're both going in 1-2. Whoever loses this game is 1-3, and that's not a good look for a Conference USA school. I think that's pretty fair to say. And I don't know what your guys' schedule is off the top of our head, but if we lose, we're 1-3, and we go play Missouri, then we play Liberty, then we play Marshall, and then there's someone I'm missing. We at least play those three, and there's one that I'm blanking on, but I mean it's a tough road after you guys too. So, I mean, do you think this game is pretty important for both schools? I mean, to keep us out of that 1-3 margin.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, Tech has next week after y'all, they have NC State.
Oh yeah.
So we're not even done with our P5 out of conferences yet. So yeah, this this is an important game, and Tech is favored, but they're coming off of a loss right now. I mean, the way that they handle their post-game conference, or post-game media conferences, media interviews, and everything afterwards, everybody just came in saying how mad they were, how they can't wait for the next game. They don't care who the opponent was. I think the Smoke Harris, our receiver, who was interviewed, is like, I don't even know who we play next week, but I can't wait to beat them so bad because they're just mad about these past few games. And so I always have the opinion you never want to play a good team after a bad loss just because they come out angry. And I think that's exactly what Louisiana Tech's going to do. I don't know if North Texas will have that same opinion after getting trounced by UAB, but I know that Tech will be angry coming into this game.
Yeah, I mean, I can't confidently say that I know UNT will be angry. I think more than likely they will be. Jace Ruder, our quarterback, is a very competitive guy. So I think he'll probably be pretty driven to prove a lot of the doubters wrong. But maybe more so than anger, it may be maybe somewhat of coaching for survival for our coach Luttrell, which I like Luttrell personally. But this is, I don't know if you want to, come out 1-3 and go down that stretch. And it just, it wasn't so much losing to UAB, but it's how we lost, for 46. That's not a good look for an in-conference loss, especially at home on family weekend. But anyway, so yeah, pretty important game for both programs though. And yeah, so we'll see how that shakes out. Any thoughts on conference realignment? I know there's all OU and Texas has the whole entire nation, chasing their tail right now in a frenzy, trying to get in a different conference or whatever. Any whispers through the grapevine of where La Tech may end up? Are y'all trying to stay in the Conference USA? Do you want to stay in Conference USA? Would you like to see them go to a bigger conference? And what's your thoughts on the whole realignment thing as it pertains to Louisiana Tech?
Yeah, I, for the most part, personally try to stay out of it a little bit just because of how many rumors there are flying around. And this team's going here, and this team's going, and you just end up with so much whiplash over what's happening. And having been through this before twice now, I think, with different teams moving places. But in terms of where I'd like Tech to end up, I mean, if there's a spot in the SEC, I won't say no.
Sure.
But also, just wherever we end up, I hope it's a step in the right direction. I know there are a lot of people saying, oh, well, Southern Miss and Tech will move down to the Sun, or not down, but because they're not going to say down, but to the Sun Belt, and join ULL and the other UL school. And who really knows how this will all shake up. Every day there's some news that comes out from some verified guy on Twitter talking about how these two schools are moving to this conference or what's happening. I personally want to stay in a conference with like the North Texas of the world and the UAB of the world, even though I don't hate North Texas by any means as much as I hate UAB. But I love having these regional rivalries where we can talk crap about each other
For sure.
and not be worried about, our closest team is Fresno State or something like that from back in the WAC days.
Yeah.
It's fun to have these geographical rivalries, but I would also not say no to an American Athletic invitation either. Just wherever we end up, I'm just hoping that it stays competitive and that Tech keeps their foot to the pedal.
So in conference speaking, is UAB La Tech's biggest rival?
It's interesting. Coming into the conference, you wouldn't think it would be. We have history with Mississippi State, or with Southern Mississippi, where we have it used to be called the rivalry in Dixie. It's been played since like the 20s. They're like 40 games up on us in the series, but that was the rivalry we were expecting. And then UAB dropping their football program, and then the band chant at the UAB basketball game in the tournament with the "We Have Football." That started a whole series of things that basically ended up where we are now.
Were you part of that chant?
I was in the band during that chant. I was the person saying, okay, wait, no, don't. This is bad. And then after I realized the kind of reaction we were getting, I was like, man, I wish I would have done it too, because it's hilarious.
That's funny.
It's the kind of stuff in sports just fun to do. It's fun to talk trash about each other. It's fun to do this. There are lines you should not cross, but that wasn't one of them.
Man, that is fun. That's super fun. Yeah. So our in conference rival is UTSA. You know, another Texas school. Obviously, I just feel like Texas schools don't really do well with other Texas schools.
Yeah.
We just kind of, I don't know what it is, ego or whatever. But well, that's cool, man. That's super cool. And you know, Nathan, I really appreciate you coming on. And guys, if you're watching this, make sure to jump over to Go Tech Please Don't Die on wherever you get your podcasts on. Are you guys on everywhere? Where are you guys?
Yes.
Will you let everybody know where they can find your podcast at real quick?
Yeah, Apple Podcasts, Spotify are the two big ones. Just search either GTPDD, which is a lot of consonants all in a row, or Go Tech Please Don't Die. Also, Twitter is where we're most active, and that's at GOTCHPLSDNTDIE. We couldn't fit the O and don't because Twitter has a limit on the number of characters in their usernames. But yeah, and then it's not just me that does this too. We have a few other people. I know you said at the beginning I'm the one that runs everything. I run some of the things.
Okay.
We kind of spread things around a little bit. But yeah, and I also assume you're not just plugging our podcast because you're about to be on it too. Either I'm assuming.
I was gonna tell everybody, like, right when we're done here, I'm gonna be jumping over to the Go Tech Please Don't Die, so you can hear a little bit more about why I maybe call me crazy, but why I think North Texas is so great. But anyway, but Nathan, once again, thank you so much for jumping on, and I look forward to talking to you here in a few minutes.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.